Hush up for a second. Act professional. All right, what's up, YouTube? We're gonna do a J channel video today. We're gonna show you how to avoid stuff like this. Yes, this is on my own job by some of my higher paid employees. So they're gonna be watching this video as soon as it's done as well. Okay? Thank you. Okay, as you just saw in that other video, even some good J channelers can have some bad habits, and that can cause that kind of thing to happen a lot. What is this? I'm gonna show you guys that. See, I don't ever need to see that on my job site. You'll find out why weird stuff like this is not necessary. This is from whatever. Anyhow, so real quick, you're probably not gonna want to use tape measures and stuff unless it's needed. Like for example, if I needed to get the side piece right now, it's a little hard to hold this up because the soffit. So you can use a tape measure for things like that. But people who take their tape out and pull all their numbers beforehand, they're probably going to be a little bit slower, and we can actually challenge that towards the middle / end of this video by I'm going to do a J channel challenge. Okay, so stay tuned to find out what that is. Tools you'll need: you're going to need a speed square for sure, some snips. I got my favorite right here. These are the little reds, the right-handers. You can carry lefts on you too, for a trick that I'll show you towards probably on one of these other sides of the window. You're gonna need a pencil for sure, and you're gonna want a knife with a straight blade, which mine's not in my pouch, it's right here. So you just need a knife with a straight blade in case once in a while your cuts can get a little weird, or something won't fit and you might need to knife it depending on how the window is. And sometimes, like I had to knife all these windows off right here, these little corners. Come over here, Ben. But you see, I got this one pretty flat by knifing this off. These are brand new windows, but if you look really close at this one right up in there, you can kind of see it's got this lip. It's got this lip on it. Okay, now that sometimes can mess with your J channel a little bit. So you want to make sure that first off, you definitely want your windows flashed correctly, and then you also want to make sure that they're pretty clean. Sometimes if you're doing a remodel on siding, you're gonna have nails sticking out, and there's all kinds of stuff that can get in your way. So let's get started real quick. So what we need to do is we need to figure out our first length. Okay. So what this J channel is close to an inch. I'm not actually sure what it really is. 7/8 maybe. It's an inch. Okay. Which means you're going to need that to come around. So we want to overhang at least an inch. Now, I always recommend having a little bit extra play. So if you want to come show them exactly where I'm marking here. So I'll probably go maybe about right there, 1.5 inches or so past. And I'm going to come over here now. I could mark this. Let me put that back. I could mark this with my pencil, right? And just somewhere random where I know I've got enough play for this piece. But really what I'll usually do is I'll just come over here and I'll make a mark kind of like with my thumb, and I'll just go like that. You know, if you're into efficiency, it's one less movement taking that pencil from the ear, okay? So now that I've got this cut, I'm gonna start with one side. I usually just start with my left, okay? So we're gonna get that started. What we're actually doing here is we're gonna run our snips down this edge for at least an inch, a little bit past, and then also down this edge. And they do make a good notching tool for this. I've never used, but you know, it's really expensive. It's like 40 bucks. I can get through that really quickly. It's not worth it for me to buy it. I'm never gonna buy it. If you guys are really fast with it or whatever, let me know if it's worth to buy, but I don't think it's gonna come down to it. After you guys see this, you might agree. Come over on this side of the window here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line that up right there, okay? And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a mark, okay? And now I'm going to cut that mark. And if you've got excess, like for example, if I didn't make a very good mark right there, and I had a piece that was maybe this long, let's say twice the length, I probably would cut it down and take that little bit off, and you'll probably end up seeing me have to do that somewhere else. Because this cut can be a little tough to make down a straight edge, some snips they'll get a little rocked because of it. So it'll start to throw your snips one way or another. So you don't want to have to come down here and take this really big long straight line. You're better off just cutting a little bit off and then going about this. Now we're going to bend this way, and and we're just going to try to get to that line. We're going to get the tip of our snips in there. And you can do that with bigger snips.
Just a tip.
Use just the tip. That's right, Matthew. Good Lord. So you can use bigger snips like this too, but I prefer when I'm doing J channel, definitely just to roll with some little guys like this, okay? Now, when I put this up here, originally I put this side good and then I marked this side, okay? So what I'm gonna do just to kind of double check my mark, and I'm not gonna take all day doing this, it's just a simple little mental note you can take, right? So you're gonna come over here and you're gonna put this mark exactly where it seems that you would want it, right? Flush with where your pencil mark was, okay? Now I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna check this. Go ahead and show them how that looks. And if it looks perfect, which it does, then you can go ahead with it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put one nail in the center, and you have to maintain pressure. Just one nail in the center. A lot of people say not to drive this home. Make sure it can be shifty too, so make sure you don't shift. That is solid right there. Good Lord. That rolled. That nail rolled. So you got to be careful with stuff like that. So if that happens, just pop it, do it again.
I'm looking down and I can see it. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Down. Come my way. Didn't want to slide at all.
There we go. That's a little better. So you don't want to overkill on nails, but you definitely want to put enough in it. Okay. Wow, this one's bad. What'd you do, Matt?
What, a collar?
Keep in mind you're gonna have nails coming in over here too. All right, this window has a little roll to it.
As long as it's plywood, you can hit it anywhere.
I don't think it is.
Oh, no, it's not.
I don't like that. I think it might be the nails not driven enough behind here. Yeah, see? So, like I said before, you want to make sure that there's some nails that are clear. So these, Matt probably had his lackey out here. Didn't drive these nails all the way home, okay? So that's why my J channel was doing that. So that's important. Now, if we have that same issue, it should be a little less severe.
Get all the way down and, you know what I mean?
It's a lot better. Okay. Now what I said was we're going to have a piece coming around here, so this is already going to get nailed here, so I don't need to put nails. Really, realistically, I could just leave this one nail in there, but I like to do a little bit. I like to make sure they're going to stay. And also, you're going to have utility strip getting nailed into here as well, undersill trim. So that's also going to re-secure this bottom piece. You really don't have to go crazy on the bottom pieces, okay? Now one trick I didn't show you, I'll show you right now. So, like I said, I might have to bust up my tape because the soffit's in the way here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to burn a little more than an inch up there and come over here and just show them where this is. So it looks like about 49 right to my thing. You probably want 2 or 3 extra inches, so maybe 51 and a half or so, okay? You really want to just kind of rough things because there's so much play in J, right? So we'll do 51 and a half, and I'll show you a nice little trick here to not have to measure again, right? So I just cut that. I'm just going to cut this straight. You can flap it down. These two sides are going to be the same exact length. Okay? Now I can just cut that. Boom. Now I didn't have to measure twice. I got my cuts done. And now I've got both my side lengths. Now I'm going to hold this up. I'm going to go through this a lot faster the second time, but for anybody who's day one beginner, I'm gonna take the extra. I'm gonna go the extra mile for you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna hold this up and just kind of show you what you should be looking at. Okay, so come see that. You want just a little more than an inch up there. Okay, and probably a little closer to 2 inches down here. All right. Now we're gonna have to put a 45 on this. I'm gonna do this because I don't know if it has to do with me being right-handed or what, but I like to do this side first. Okay, so we got to put a 45-degree angle on this now. So what a lot of people are going to struggle with is they're going to do this. They're going to fumble their speed square around a whole bunch, right? So I don't really have a good way yet to remember this other than putting this this flat part on this part is really is always going to give you the correct 45-degree angle. But I mean, you can maybe, if you think about it, if you were to like stab yourself with a speed square, right? You probably want to stab yourself this way. You can only stab yourself this way, not the sharp side, but the blunt side. If you were to stab yourself with the blunt side, that will be correct every time. So if I was to do this, like, okay, I'm gonna stab myself with the blunt side. Boom. Well, look, that's correct for that one now. So I've never thought of it that way, but if it helps somebody not fumble with their speed square, you're welcome. So what I'm doing here, come over here. Now we've left ourselves a little bit of play, right? An inch or two. So what I'm going to do is this length right here, okay, that's roughly an inch if I were to put my tape on it. This really does not matter, so don't get too crazy with it. I'm just showing you guys here. So that's about an inch. It's actually an inch and an eighth. You can go inch and a quarter or whatever. You just want a little bit of stuff or a little bit of room to flap that down and get a nail in there, okay? So we've marked our 45 now. And again, if you pay attention to that, you'll usually not run out of space up here. Okay, now I'm gonna make this 45. I'm gonna show you guys a trick to avoid, a lot of times your corners will be just a little bit short from touching. Anybody who's done J channel will know what I'm talking about. This is kind of a little bit of an example. Not really, it's kind of actually a pretty decent corner, but sometimes if you've got like that, you'll see like a square right there where that's kind of open. All right, so here's one way to avoid that. When you go to cut this 45, you're gonna start right here as if you're about to cut straight, right? Well, I want you to go inside of that cut a little bit. Okay? Now you're gonna push back through. So you see what I did with my line there? How I started directly on the line and then I walked inside of it. What that's gonna do is it's gonna make your angle just a little bit longer, and you won't run short. And then I usually just kind of put my finger there and go as straight as I can at that. And then I put my thumb deep in here, and I always open this up. If you open this up, it won't get caught. It won't get caught on the back here. Okay, and it's really gonna make for a much better corner. And then you just take this off. Okay, and there's really no art to this. This part will just get in the way if it's on. Okay, if that's on, you won't be able to fold this around to the inside. So take it off. And I always take it off back to this point where, like I said, you can really stretch that corner and be able to get right up inside of there. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and put this on right now. And you see I've got plenty up there. I can go ahead and mark this out. Okay, I've got plenty of space up there, more than an inch. Now what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to hold this tight, okay? And you're just going to mark this line here. You guys see that? All right. So then we're going to pull this down. When you cut this, you don't have this. You don't got to go up straight in a line. Okay? You can actually cut that loose there because you don't want this to get in your way. All right. Can I help you, bud? Okay. All right, so that should fit. You want to make sure you remember to cut this before you go up. Okay, so remember, same thing. There's really only, I didn't explain this earlier. There's really only two. When you're doing 40 or a window, you're gonna have only two things. You're gonna have this cut here, which we did on these bottoms, and you're gonna have 45-degree cuts like the one I just did. It's pretty much the only two things you need to know. I basically taught you dang near everything you need to know for you to be able to figure it out already. That's how simple this process is, okay? Really what we're just showing at this point is how to finish out the process so that there's no guessing for you guys. So we're gonna get in there, we're gonna cut right on that line. Sometimes it can get a little curvy in here, and that might mess with your stuff a little. You can push that back down. All right, so we're gonna put this in here. We're gonna make sure that fits good. You see how that window, or how that turned out? Okay. And now I gave you guys a little bit extra on that point. Remember how I took a little bit out? So once in a while that can get a little long. This one I would say is not long, but if you wanted to, you could always come through and nip off a little bit of that corner. And that's gonna look a lot better with a little bit of a nip corner than than anybody would ever say with a corner like that, pretending that this was all flush here. That would be a lot worse than having a little bit of a nip corner, just so you guys know. So we're good up here. If we can reach it, go ahead and feel for it. And that's good now. So we just got to nail this side off. Again, we will have another one wrapping around on top, so we don't exactly have to waste our time putting a nail really close over there. Okay? You don't got to overkill on these. Probably two or three nails for a window this size. Down the edge. Depends on, sometimes your insides will try to push out here because of the pressure on the corner. And then you just put this up here, make sure that's in there good. See how that moved it a little? Nice little adjustment. And you're gonna secure this. Now you don't want to destroy this, all right? You really don't. What you want is you want this little flap to hold this corner from trying to move outwards too much. You still want these to have a little play, but nothing serious. I would say tighter is almost better, but you don't want to breathe on the dang thing and let it crack, okay? Which, by the way, it is cold out, and I didn't talk about it yet, but sometimes when it's cold out, if you're getting ready to cut a 45, it can crack the J channel really easily. So I've seen people try to grind 45s and stuff and all this in the winter. It's ridiculous. If you have a decent pair of snips, you can most likely get through it without it cracking. If it is cracking, you just have to give it a blow. And you don't need to sit there for 3 minutes blowing on one piece of J. Do just like a scuba dive one. I'll demonstrate in an embarrassing way. That's really almost all you have to do. Okay? And then you'll be able to go about your 45s, which would realistically be that way. You should be able to go about that just fine, okay? So now, before we get to this, or before we go on, we just have to, first thing we got to do is we got to put that speed square on, give ourselves a little more than an inch. Always start by making that angle first. Some people try to put this piece up here and go, oh, I got enough here, and I got enough here, and they try to make marks here and here. Like, no, just put your 45 on already and go after it, okay? And remember, I'll show you guys again for anybody who might not have caught it. We're gonna start right there, and we're gonna eat into that line a little, okay? And then we also want to eat into that back too. We're gonna go straight at it. We're gonna get our thumb in there, and we're gonna open that little mouth right there, okay? We're gonna open that up a little bit extra. We're gonna open that a little extra because that's gonna allow our corner to sit as close as we can get it. This little gap here needs to sit as close into this little gap here as possible. And it looks like this window might have got moved over a smidge. Looks okay. But for example, if this window was moved over, you see this right here, come shine in on here. That window got moved in, so you can kind of see a little bit of that. I'm gonna show you guys what would happen if I went ahead and tried this right now, so you can see what flies and what doesn't. So this is pretty much as tight as I'm gonna be able to get that. Get square with it, down level and everything. You can probably see the silver behind there. Silver taping in here, okay? So that probably would not be, all right, so what I can do for that is you can take your knife, and I got this double blade, but the one broke off. Otherwise I'd have two straight blades in this because I'm doing siding, and it would help me get in both sides here. But you can just push that into there. See, the knife on the other side would be a lot better right now. And then put this into here, and you don't want to overdo it, okay? And then you could just score this a couple times, and this could come off. The snips will grip it. There we go. All right. So then you can fix stuff with the knife, all right? Just trying to show you guys all things here. So we need to put this on here. Make our mark here. Now we're gonna start to get a little more experienced, okay? We've done one side of a window. We know what we're doing, okay? So we're gonna go in here, we're gonna cut this out. We're not gonna waste too much time on it. We'll go right down our angle there. Open it up. Now we're gonna put this on. But we forgot a step, didn't we? Forgot to cut that. That's all right. We're gonna go ahead and nail this off anyway. Let me show you why.
When you're done with that, you can go ahead and pull numbers for between the windows.
Just look at this. Come check this out. I got right-handed snips. Take a little bit off that. Boom. She's good. Right? You could have used greens for that side if you wanted to keep greens in your other hand or in your other side of your pouch. And then this one is kind of a little nippy. Boom. I actually haven't had to do that yet all day. And then, all right, so now for the top. I can just, this one's gonna have 2 flaps down on it, okay? So you're gonna need that, you know, closer to 3 inches on both sides. So I'll just cut one 42.5. All right, and we're gonna start with one of these angles, okay? And like I said, leave yourselves 1.25 inches or so, somewhere in that range. Boom. We're gonna put our first 45 on. Don't be afraid. I'll say it every freaking time. Take out a little bit of the back of that 45. Go as straight as you can at this, but don't spend all day trying to make it straight. I put on 100 that weren't perfectly straight, and they all look crisp, I swear. So we've got our 145 on. So we're gonna go right here. Now you might have to get up here with me, Ben. So what we're doing is we're gonna secure this on there. Again, you'll get caught right here. You have to actually kind of force this one in. Get in the habit of doing that. All right. And then we have to come over to here. We gotta drop that one in also. So I had kind of a bad cut right here. Trying to get all cocky on you guys. There we go. Okay. So what we're gonna do here, this one's easy. All right, this is a simple one. We just mark that with a pencil, right? So we've got our mark right there. Now this side is gonna be the one that gets a little bit trickier, right? So we wanna make sure, you always wanna double check everything. So we wanna make sure that this is exactly where it's gonna sit. So I push my fingers inside of here, inside of this J channel. I make sure that's correct. Now I make sure this one's where it's gonna sit. You don't wanna over push either because these J channels are naturally gonna wanna sit out a little more than you're pushing. We need to make a mark on that side up there, out there. We need to make a mark at where we feel the top is gonna be. And we're talking about the top of this J channel right here. That's what I'm marking. You can mark again at the top here, but I always usually mark a little lower just so it reminds me to give myself an angle here. Because again, we don't want this part blocking our corners from touching. All right, and you really want a sharp pencil for something like this. And you need to have a sharp mind too, because you're just gonna make a little mark right there. Now, you have to do some compensation in your cutting. That's why I said you gotta have a sharp mind also. All right, yeah, let's get down to the light. So remember when I said if I've got a whole lot to deal with, I might cut a little extra off. So this is where my 45 is going to be. Okay, if you can't tell by what I was doing, my 45 is going to go this direction. All right. So I just need, like I said, about 2 inches extra or so, 1 inch maybe from that line. I always do to make it a little easier to work with. you won't have a giant 6-inch flap trying to flap around going in there, okay? Makes it real nice and clean. Now, this part's very important because when you make this cut, you have to imagine this line here rolled all the way through nice and straight to as far as the point where your snips are going to go. So we're getting ready to snip on that. Now we need to be paying attention to the direction we're going. We actually don't want to go on that outside of every angle, like I said, because this mark is going to give you almost that exact mark already. So if you're going to do anything, it should be either touching this mark exactly back here or just a touch inwards of it. All right. So we're going to make this 45 from right on that point. See if you guys can see that. Okay. Right on that point. And we're going to run it to the back of this. Okay. Now we're just going to run our snips straight at it again, just like we always have. Open this thing nice and wide. Take out the back, so we're not suffering trying to get her in there. And then that should fit just fine. Now we're going to go up here and let's knock out the easy one. We're going to go at an angle here and then right to that mark. And usually I'll leave a little bit of that pencil line because it's better to be long than short. Again, I would rather have to nip that off one little time than for it to be short and the corner's not exactly touching. Okay, so now I'm just going to come over here and do the same thing. You guys have seen this. We're going to put this corner on. Pretty crisp. Same thing here. Pretty crisp. Little pencil marks for me doing some extra stuff for you guys. Might be able to get them off. Oh, or just make it dirtier. Whatever my fingers do. We'll wash that off a little later though. But you guys, I really wanted to make some extra marks for you guys to really understand that, because this is the part that everybody's going to screw up. And I can't tell you how many minutes I wasted trying or not knowing what I was doing and trying to figure this out for myself a long time ago, because I never had a teacher to teach me this kind of thing. And it's a big reason why I'm making this video here, okay? And all the videos on my channel, really. You know, so my guys can come watch this video. I always put these little flaps in first. My guys can come watch this video. And if you're an employer, your employees can come watch this video. If this video sits right with you.
Give me 14 and a quarter hole. 14 and a quarter from end.
Might help you out, save you a little time. Save you teaching time, save them on the learning curve. Boom. It's not bad. Okay. All right. Now, how long did that take? How long did that take?
28 minutes.
28?
That's how long the video is right now.
All right, so I'm just gonna start with some full pieces here, and I'm gonna show you guys what this should look like in real time now, okay? All right, so I'm not gonna say much, just because I'm gonna turn this into a challenge now, because J-channel and window shouldn't take 28 minutes, it shouldn't take 15. You should be putting up, you know, windows, because regardless of size, windows are usually they're just 4 sides, right? Windows or small windows, big windows, they're all the same amount of sides, so it's the same amount of cuts. The length of the side or the bottom doesn't really matter. So I think we can do a window challenge for J-channel, and let's see, just like I did for my 1 square challenge in roofing, and you know, let's kind of get an idea here of the best and the fastest ways to do this, because you know, a lot of this stuff I figured out by myself, very little teaching. And I've taken a few of these tricks that you'll probably see me do, and I may have already done a little bit of. I've taken them from either employees or just, I don't know, some bosses taught me some stuff, but I've taken a little bit from what I've had, and this is what I've come up with, and I just love seeing what other people come up with and how they were taught and how they've learned. So let's go ahead and start this, and let's see who else is real good out there.
John, you want to nail this one? Yeah, I can climb around and nail it.
I didn't mention earlier, but on the bottom, because I didn't do this, your top one's going to be longer. Don't forget that. So if you're using this trick, make it a little longer. Okay.
Okay, 40 and a quarter.
And it don't count if it ain't quality.
Pretty good at judging it by eyeball. Maybe 4 for all of them too. Oh yeah. They're all the same dimensions, so yeah. Yep. Yep, 40.
I know one thing I can save time on, and you think this wouldn't be the case if I was, since I'm a roofer, but it would be holding more nails at a time. I've never practiced shuffling single nails like this. Only cat nails I got real good at. This old tape's busted. The last time I need that one.
Yeah, you did it with me earlier. So you know what's up. Alright, that'll work. Easy. I know that sound.
I don't know if I said it yet, but speed does not count without quality. So I don't want to hear anybody talking about it. I had somebody when I was making $12 an hour, $17 an hour guy wanted to race, or I told him I was better than him because I knew I was. We did a J channel race in front of the bosses. He put in half the nails, like he would have been like, that's good. I was nailing her off like this. I still beat him by like a minute. He was salty. And that's it. Let me show you how it turned out. Let me see the camera. All right. Corners, underside. This side had a little, there's this thing in here. I don't know if you can see it. Silicone on that window. Just so you guys know, but otherwise, that's how that corner turned out. Just a little pencil mark there. Okay. That's how it should be. How long did that take? Little,
Just under 10 minutes.
just under 10 minutes. That's what you should expect for a window. Around 10 minutes or so. So plan for that if you're ever bidding on siding, and if you want to hold your guys to a standard. I mean, that's a regular work pace right there, I feel. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something. Bye.